Hello, future Cisco admins. This is Whale Hater. We're doing Packet Tracer 6336. This is configuring router on a stick inter VLAN routing, and we are going to get going right now. This is also for CCNA course number 2. Alright, we're going to ping between PC1 and PC3. We're going to be doing a lot of this. So ping 172.17.30.10, if I'm not mistaken. 10. Enter. Now it should fail. Now what's going on is these are on two completely different networks. You see that /24 that says this network is right up to that dot right there, and then the rest of that's host portion, so that PC1 would be assigned there somewhere in the host. And this is another completely different network. This is 172.17.30 dot some number 10, as it turns out. So these are on two different networks, these PCs. And we can switch over to simulation mode to show that. And you see the packets just got created. Packet forward goes to the switch. And it's going to send out an ARP request. The PC1 sending out an ARP request. And S1 is just forwarding it out all its ports, because it doesn't know where PC3 is. So it's just going to forward it out a port. But PC3 is like, that's not my mail. I don't know. That's coming from some weird network. That's not my network. Get rid of it. So he's going to get rid of it. Okay. Let's see. Create VLANs on S1. So return to real-time mode and create VLAN 10 and 30 on S1. Now how do we do that? First we got to get in the configuration terminal and we say VLAN 10. That creates the VLAN. That really does. Okay, so now we are going to assign PC1 to, hold on. VLAN 1, and then we also going to do VLAN 30. So those two are now created. Exit out of that, and we're going to say that we want to configure interface F6 and F11 as access ports and assign VLANs. Okay, so let's see. Looking at that topology, we're going to say that interface F011, and he is going to be switch port mode, and he's going to become an access port. Access ports go to end devices. Trunk ports go to intermediary devices like other switches or routers. Okay, now we're going to turn this, we're going to assign that VLAN to him. Access, we're going to say VLAN and then 10. For F11 is on VLAN 10. So that's his. Now let's do interface. We're going to switch interfaces here to F0, what was it, 6? Yeah, 6. Okay, we're going to do that switch port command again. Mode access, because this, access. This is an access line. And then we're just going to do 30. Switch port access VLAN 30. We're assigning, just by doing that up arrow, we got that last command, saves ourselves some time. And we're just assigning this interface to this VLAN, which is the same as that. Okay, cool. So since we're in the configuration terminal, you have to hit do so that it will do this command, VLAN brief. Now on VLAN 10, we've got that interface, that should be right. And VLAN 30, we've got this interface. So cool, we got it. So now, since we got all that configured, what did we just do? Before, the switch was all one VLAN. It was all in this default VLAN of 1, and that's how they come from the factory. They were all in there, but we sliced it off and sectioned these off, saying, hey, these are separate networks. So basically, the way these things are is they look like this. We took one switch and we cut it in two. So now this is VLAN 10 and this over here is VLAN 30. But the only problem is switches, layer 2 devices, layer 2 switches can't route packets. So it basically, we took that VLAN and we cut it into two pieces, or we took that switch and cut it into two pieces. One VLAN on the left, one VLAN on the right. So that's kind of what it looks like when what we just did. Now the connectivity test is going to show you that. So let's switch over to this. We're going to do this. We're going to do the up arrow, enter, see our packets that got created, and capture forward. Nope. See, the S1 cannot route packets to the next VLAN. The only traffic that that's going to have is on that VLAN. That is it. Let's try again. ARP, I really want to know how to talk to that computer. Sorry, buddy, you got denied. All right, so what do we got to do next? Ping should fail. Why were they unsuccessful? Well, I just told you. Okay, create the interface, sub interface G00.10 on R1 using the 802.1q encapsulation. Alright, so what do we do for that? Enable configuration terminal interface, and we say G0/0, and then we just say get that. To create a sub interface, you just do that dot, and then whatever that sub interface you wanted to make it. Okay, to do the encapsulation, we say encapsulation, and then we say dot 1q, and we actually spell dot 1q. Or you could just do T and then the tab button and it spells it for you. And we are going to assign it to VLAN 10. So this interface, sub interface, is going to be assigned to VLAN 10, and we do that by just saying 10. Enter. And let's do also refer the addressing table for the correct IP address. So here's our IP address right there. So IP address 172.17.10. There's a hint for you. 1. And that's 255s and the 0. Okay, we're going to do the triple up arrow. Save ourselves time. 30. That's the other interface. So we're assigning that to the encapsulation mode .iq VLAN 30. Enter. Triple up arrow. And we're just going to give that the 30 address. Everything else should be the same. Okay. So now we got to exit. No, what we could do is interface like that, and then say no shutdown. And that should bring up the interface. Because by default, though, the interface here, of course, is down. So we have to turn that on, and that then by turning on the G00, it'll turn on all the sub interfaces associated with it. Now, just for your information, if you ever want to delete or disable just one of the sub interfaces, now that they're up, you can shut them down now by just going back into like the .10 and then giving the shutdown command. But you can't say no shutdown when in a sub interface. You have to turn the whole interface on, and then you can go back and shut them down one by one. Okay, so what are we doing here? We've got 55 points. That's it. What's going on? What else do we have to do? So we turn on the interfaces. Now, what we've just done is it looks kind of like this now. So we put a router in there so we can route between the two VLANs. So there's the VLAN 10 on the right. There's a VLAN 30 on the there's a VLAN 10 on the left, VLAN 30 on the right, and we put a router in the middle to router in between them, in between those networks, which are just on one switch. I mean, I'm just giving you an idea of what it kind of is looking like. So let's do a ping again. Up arrow. Try again. Up arrow. Created our packet. Cool. Slow this down just a hair. Packet forward. Okay. Got there. Switch OK. Nope. What is going on? Why won't this work? It's just so frustrating. Yeah, right. There's still there's still a little bit of stuff to do. And what do we need to do still? Let's see. Where were we now? Okay, we need to enable a trunk. So this, let's get rid of that packet. So this S1 switch doesn't know where to forward the data to. And we know that a trunk is just basically a pipe to some intermediary device. So like another switch or a router. And that trunk pipe port, whatever you want to call it, will forward all VLANing traffic through that, as long as it's allowed. And we're going to allow it. So let's open up S1. Oops, are we already in the configuration terminal? What am I doing? All right, so let's go down a little bit. We are going to enable the trunk. So we're going to say show VLAN. Do show VLAN, excuse me. Now, the interface that it connects to the router is that G01. Now, where is G01 right now? It's still in the default VLAN. Not cool. Here's another helpful do, or a show command, is do interface and then say trunk. Now, that command just worked, but there's nothing that was outputted. That means there's nothing that's been configured as a trunk port. So let's go to interface G01. Okay, so we're there now. Now let's turn this into a trunk port. And now what we do that is switch port, like always, and we say mode trunk. Enter. So now it's been brought down and back up as a trunk port. Fast forward. So that's up now. Now you can see that we've got all our points. So let's do that ping command one more time. Okay. Ping. Now it should work. So doing an ARP request to S1. S1 is going to say, oh, this is to a completely different network. Where do I send it? Oh, I can't route it. I got to send it up to a router. I'm going to send it up to the router. Hey, look, it worked. The router's going to say, oh, this is coming in on interface G00.10. And it has to go to G00. It's got to go to the VLAN 30, which is on the G00.30 network or interface, which is basically the same interface, but the router doesn't know that. And it goes back down to the switch. So it went up the .10, it came down the .30, and it comes now. It's on the S1 says, oh, this is .30 traffic. I know where to send .30 traffic. Oh, it got that ARP request for the router. That's what it did. I'm a little ahead of myself. So there we go. Now it went over to the VLAN 30. So PC1, I should have said it didn't know the ARP. It didn't know the MAC address of its exit gateway router. So it got the ARP request. Now it's coming back. There we go. So now the R1 just did an ARP request looking for the MAC address of the PC3, so it got its response back, and now it's going to say, okay, we are ready to rumble. Shoot it up. So we got that first ICMP packet going up to the newly acquired MAC address of R1. It's going to say, oh, okay, switch it down. I know where that's going now. That's going to go to PC3. PC3 says, yep, that's me. Now it's sending a reply message to S1 back up to R1, and it's going to switch over from the .30 over to the .10, and then it's going to come back over to PC1. So that was that ping. So that's what's going on. We're getting those replies right there. That was our first reply. So that first one timed out. That's why it died at the router. So there's our first reply. And if we let this just play out, the rest of those should just keep on going. So we got all our replies. Hey, good job, guys. Thank you so much for going through and dealing with all my shenanigans. It is getting kind of late. It's like 11:30 now after I'm getting this third video of mine done tonight. I appreciate you guys going through and watching these. Please comment below if you got any questions. Also, subscribe. I'm constantly coming out with new material for you, so help you better. But remember, don't cheat. Learn the material, learn what's going on so that you can be successful out in the field someday. You guys are always awesome. I love it when you watch these things. You guys have a great night. Peace.